your Acheron isn't busted enough, then Jiaoqiu will come to the rescue. Let's talk about the elephant in the room first, the synergy with Acheron. Acheron is T0 in MOC and Apocalyptic Shadow, and also happens to be pretty good in Pure Fiction. Jiaoqiu is the third damage amplifying nihility character and the second one that can deal with AoE scenarios. The main attraction being here that he is very good at building stacks for Acheron and also expose vulnerabilities on enemies in, say, AoE fashion. So he definitely, alongside Pella, is a top contender. Now here comes the kicker. In the past, up to this very day, going double nihility is the thing to do at E0, unless you're running well sustain. But pretty much Acheron is locked to that archetype. But now, this man is shaking things up a little bit. You will need to look out for the Sparkle JQ combo. That one is coming in blazingly hot. But more to that in my early access guide. Now, on top of his debuffing capability, he comes also with his own okay, respectable DOT damage, which means he has obvious synergy also with Kafka and Black Swan. Yeah, he competes with Ranmei, which will kick in his teeth, but there is only one Ranmei and only the best team can call dibs on her. So therefore we have now an open spot, and if you really want to fill that, JQ can be the man. Another great thing that he has up over the likes of Pella is that his debuffs do not rely on enemies. What does that mean? Nihility is in a unique position where it depends on applying debuffs to an enemy, so if the enemy dies, you lose effects. Jiaoqiu does not suffer from this issue as much as someone like Pella. This is because enemies that spawn in instantly gain his debuff. Sure, it still needs to stack up, but that can easily be done through his ultimate. His ultimate is also a field that, like Ranmei's ult, rather than just a debuff. Pella, however, will need to use her ultimate or reapply her ultimate once a wave is decimated, which can happen pretty quickly on Acheron. And speaking of the respectable damage before, a problem many supports suffer from is not dealing any meaningful damage. The best of the best supports usually don't have this issue though. Robin, for example, has her extra attacks from her ultimate, Ranmei has some break damage she adds on top. Now Jiaoqiu also has some respectable damage in the form of DOTs, which for example Kafka can proc off. While not nearly as powerful as Black Swan or Kafka itself, it's respectable. Now, of course the character doesn't come only with advantages, there are also clear-cut downsides. Skill points being one of that. Jiaoqiu as a character, similar to Black Swan, just wants to get his debuff on enemies and those that appear new as often as possible and get that stack count up. That can be done through skill and basics, but the skill is way more efficient at doing that as this one is a blast and also is just a single target. So you want to skill as much as possible, which is very annoying compared to units like Pella who can just like do her basics like 90% of the time and be happy. So if you don't want to skill with Pella, you do not need to do that. This man is being played in the place of guys like Ranmei who need only to skill like once every 3 turns, or like Tingyon or something like that. So therefore he loses a lot of flexibility here. So we got the flexibility as one potential issue here, and then there is also another one where simply compared to the raw buffing capabilities of, let's say, Robin, Sparkle, or Ranmei, like his debuffing and contrast doesn't stack up as much. Surely, with Acheron, he is going to push her into the next level. But with other units, yeah, while his kit is being really strong, the skill point economy will be a big holdback, but also like his unique recipe of goodies that he brings will not fit as well outside of Acheron. Sure, adding vulnerabilities, applying DOTs, doing a decent amount of damage. But then you have like units like Pella, who even at base level do their job, do a similar job. Or you have Guanifan, like when you have her E6, you get a 28% vulnerability to enemies in an AoE. Now this is a nitpick, but also one small disadvantage, as you can tell that, is that his debuff is not instantaneous. It needs time to ramp up, to stack up. So that's also something that you need to consider. So don't just look at the raw number. So outside of his optimal scenario, you can kind of see him like a side grade to Pella, to Guanaifen, like this kind of character. So overall, you don't need to feel pressured into pulling him if you don't even have Acheron. But if you have her, then bro, you are in for a ride. This has been Neo Style Pact, signing out.